Well, guys, man, we got to talk about, man, this WNBA, man. We got to talk about everything that we've seen in the last week. We got to talk about the game that we saw tonight between the Indiana Fever and the Golden State Valkyries, where Caitlin Clark set a WNBA record on a night that she stunk it up, and they took an L to the Golden State Valkyrie, 90-88. Caitlin Clark didn't play well, coming off 2 games that she played significantly well. She stank it up tonight, and let the excuses begin. Also, we got to talk about how the Atlanta Dream and Angel Reese was taught a lesson by the Minnesota Lynk and that young rookie and Olivia Miles. And we're going to talk about it right after this.
Let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. Nah, it's my bro K-Sap. Chopping up topics for your optics. From politics to your cockpits. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio, stereo, pumping high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic. Man, I got something to say.
Well, guys, man, you know I got something to say, man. So we was treated to another great thriller between the Golden State Valkyries and the Indiana Fever, where on the night, Caitlin Clark became the fastest woman in WNBA history to reach 500 assists. But they took an L to the Golden State Valkyrie. And Caitlin Clark did not play well. She didn't have a great showing. She stunk it up tonight. She was abysmal. Bad shot selection, turning the ball over. And, you know, a lot of people are not going to, you know, critique her for having a bad game, because if you critique her for having a bad game, you know, that fan base, they'll come for you and talk about your hating and the things like that. But you got to understand something. These last 2 games, we've gave Caitlin Clark her praise for having 2 great games. And, you know, the narratives all over social media and all over the internet. Oh, man, Caitlin Clark, you know, she's putting on an MVP season. Let's pump our brakes, man, because tonight against a Golden State Valkyrie team, she completely stunk it up. She completely looked out of place. She had no rhythm. She was turning the ball over. She was taking bad shots. Also, defense is still a concern for me on her part. But it's just not Caitlin Clark's defense. It's the whole Indiana Fever as a whole, their team defense, because they just let the Golden State Valkyries get anything they wanted up and down the court in transition and in the half-court set. And that defense got to be fixed. But it's all spearheaded by y'all's golden girl, Caitlin Clark. I mean, if she's the focal player, you know, these other teams are putting her in pick and rolls. They haunting her out, getting the mismatch, and they just abusing her. And offensively, she just looked out of sync, man. She was just jacking up shots. Caitlin Clark was 3 of 12 from the field, but she was 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Also, she was 2 of 6 from three-point range. And, you know, she had, you know, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, but she had them 5 turnovers. You got to take care of the ball, man, especially against a young team in the Golden State Valkyrie, where the Golden State Valkyries handed the Indiana Fever the 3rd loss of the season. But this is a young season right now. And we just got to talk about it, man. We got to look at the box score. We got to look at, you know, in the box score, we got to look at it. You know, Monique Billings, 19 minutes, 4 points, 1 or 2 from the field. Aaliyah Boston, 22 minutes, 13 points, 4-11 from the field. Then you look at Kelsey Mitchell, 30 minutes, 14 points, 5 of 13. Then you look at Lexi Hall, 23 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 7 from the field. And then you look at Caitlin Clark. She played 29 minutes, man, despite what the reports may say about the back injury. I know a lot of people are going to use the back injury for an excuse for her playing poorly. But, you know, she played 29 minutes. She had 16 points. She was 3 of 12 from the field. 2 of 6 from three-point range, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Also, she had 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 turnovers. The turnovers are still an issue for Caitlin Clark because she's still leading the league in turnovers at 5.3 turnovers a game. She has to get that down. Also, you You got to look at the Golden State, man. Kayla Thornton, man. She 18 minutes, man. No points, man. They got to get some production from Kayla Thornton. But Gabby Williams, she came to play, 28 minutes, 19 points. Kia Stokes, she had 26 minutes, 4, points. Kayla Charles, seven points in 15 minutes. But Veronica Burton was damn near efficient tonight. She played 29 minutes, 25 points, 7 of 13 from the field, 1 of 3 from three-point range. She was 10 of 12 from the free throw line. So, shout out to Veronica Burton, belt the ass, was just going straight at, Caitlin Clark, using and abusing her. Defense is still an issue. But on a night that, Caitlin Clark did break the record, she stunk it up. And the Indiana Fever have suffered their third loss of the season. And that has to be fixed, man. That has to be fixed, man. I know a lot of people are going to use, she's still dealing with the back injury. But if she's out there, she's got to be effective, man. And tonight she just wasn't effective. These last 2 games that she's played real well. But tonight, we just got to call a spade, man. She stunk it up. She played abysmal. She was poor. If she is the lead in charge of this Indiana Fever team, you see, she stunk it up. And that really caused Indiana to lose this game against the Golden State Valkyries. But, kudos to the Golden State Valkyries for knocking off the Indiana Fever 90-88. But on the flip side, let's talk about these Atlanta Dream, man. The Atlanta Dream, Angel Reese put a target on her back saying that, she feels that the Atlanta Dream are the number 1 team in the league, which they are contenders. We've seen it. But this young start Minnesota Lynk team without Nafisha Collier, led by Olivia Miles, they playing some good ball. And kudos to Olivia Miles for doing her thing, man, and running that offense and setting people up. She's doing a great job, but they taught the Atlanta Dream a lesson because the Atlanta Dream, they are a fourth quarter team. They know how to lock down in the fourth quarter and, get the comebacks and win these games and squeak out these thrillers. But yesterday, it just didn't happen against the Minnesota Lynk. Minnesota Lynk, they, stood 10 toes down. They knew what they had to do because of the first game that they played against them, and the Atlanta Dream came back and beat them in the last weigh-in, minutes of the game in the fourth quarter when it mattered. But this time they learned from the first game, and you got to give kudos to the Minnesota Lynk. And I think they taught the Atlanta Dream a lesson that you always can't play from behind because sometimes it's not going to work out in your favor. And I think the Atlanta Dream have to starting fast now and just closing games out. And this was a good test against the Minnesota Lynk. We'll look at the box score. Got to give kudos to them, man. They took down the Atlanta Dream 96-81. And you got to look at the Atlanta Dream starters. Nas Hillman, 15 points. Angel Reese, only 10 points, 3 of 8. She was bad from the field goal percentage. Alicia Gray, 21 points. Jordan Canada, 9. Ryan Howard, 10. They got Sika Cone off the bench. She had 5. Medina Okot, she had 4. Tahina Paopao only had 3 in 11 minutes. And then you look at the Minnesota Lynk, man, the old Wally veteran and Natasha Howard came up huge. She had 22 points, 11-16 from the field. Nakia Coffey, 14 points. Kayla McBride, 12. But Courtney Williams, man, I'm telling you, Courtney Williams and Olivia Miles, that backcourt is impressive, man. And Courtney Williams is feeding off of Olivia Miles. Courtney Williams had 25 big points, man, 10 of 15 from the field, 3 of 5 from three-point range. And then you look at Olivia Miles, 16 points, 6 of 10. She had them 8 assists, 5 rebounds, but only 3 turnovers. And I just think in this situation, they taught the Atlanta Dream a lesson, man, that you always can't play from behind. You got to start, getting it early. Slow starts from Atlanta have been costly, and then they got to put their pedal to the metal in the fourth quarter. But I think in this situation, they'll learn from it. But they've always addressed it. Even at the post-game press conferences, they always say, we got to start fast. I don't know why we keep coming out slow. But this is what they got to do, man. But I just think this Minnesota Lynk taught them a lesson, man. So now you got to start off, man. You got to start off hot. And you got to continue going into the fourth quarter. And that's when you close teams out. But overall, man, the WNBA season, we getting a lot of treats, man. We getting a lot of exciting games, man. We getting a lot of, stellar play from these rookies, man. You got to look at what Olivia Miles is doing, but you got to look at what's going on in Dallas with Azzi Fudd, man. She is picking it up. She's getting minutes. Her confidence is there. These last two games Azzi Fudd has, man, these are breakout games. So with this rookie race, I know it's early. It's between Olivia Miles and Azzi Fudd, but Azzi Fudd has now entered the building. So y'all keep an eye on that. But other than that, like I stated, man, we got to talk about it. We give, everybody gives Caitlin Clark the praise, man, when she does well. But let's give her the business when she does bad. And she stunk it up tonight, and it is what it is. I see everybody in the comments section, #salute. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh, yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.